Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Welcome to the Pez of the Mind. I am James Phoenix, and this is another fantastic episode of our fan-made radio/roleplay Disney Heroes. For those of you keeping track at home, this is episode 10. Joining me for this episode, of course, the best one, Richter Hammer.
Hello.
And the other one, Marcus Shadow.
Hello.
And our current effects master, who is back with us but will not be appearing this evening, my co-creator, Chris the Mole.
Hi.
And I'm James Phoenix, of course, the other co-creator.
I thought you were going to use the
crickets?
chirp. Yeah, the crickets.
I thought it was, and then there was just dead silence, and I'm like, oh, I guess that works too. And then I was like, oh, okay.
I thought he was going to go with the wah-wah horn.
There you go.
Not that one. Yeah, I thought you were going to go with that one. Mock me. There's the crickets. Okay.
Oh my god. Yeah, we should have a sitcom episode where we just have a laugh track.
Okay, then.
Radio. So, yeah, like I was saying, this is episode 10. Stay with us, and we hope you enjoy it. And, yeah, here we go.
Sponsored by RC Cola.
No, nothing is ever sponsored by RC Cola.
Don't they sponsor the cars?
What cars?
The RC cars.
Oh, I get it.
I know it's really stupid. It amuses me way more than it should.
I laughed, Rick, but I was muted because I was waiting. Because I keep muted.
He does. Yeah, but I was just talking about actual like NASCAR.
No.
Like, do they?
I like the idea that RC Cola, they're so cheap because they spend all their money to make RC cars.
Yeah, like really NASCAR like sponsored by RC Cola. I'm pretty sure they'd rather go to Shasta first.
Hey, they don't care as long as they're willing to give them money.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. At any rate, let us begin.
Indeed.
Well, I suppose, for the benefit. Previously on Disney Heroes. The team had to fight off the combined efforts of both Gaston and Commander Rourke, while at the same time dealing with a malfunctioning watch of Jeff Chen, which had sent him into a feral rage. After everyone has recovered, the team prepares for their next move.
We're moving bases again.
The narrator chooses not to respond to that. We join our team in headquarters, per usual. Alright, well, looks like we've gotten most everything cleaned up from that last little excursion. Luckily, there's not too much permanent damage, just replacing a few panels, a couple of pieces of furniture, and, of course, assuaging the media outburst that would have happened had we not gotten a cap on it in time, and making sure that any guests to the park that were affected were properly compensated. I think everyone's all right.
Adrian smirks. Huh. Bet you wish we were the Men in Black now, huh?
As much as our abilities vary widely, I'm not sure we want to get into the territory of erasing memories.
Alfred
As we,
saunters up. Yeah, boo, we gotta fight aliens too. Is there anything we can't do?
let's hope we don't find out. At any rate, while the repairs have been going on, I've also been trying to take a closer look at the watches. I thought we had more thoroughly studied the effects of this, but it would seem, given we were only using the watches for again, basic tests and a few minor skirmishes against lesser demons, we didn't anticipate the effect that the range of human emotion and feeling, the heart of the wearer would have in extreme situations on both the magic and the technology. It would seem that, but the magic, as it taps into one's heart to determine your forms, the connection with the heart is never truly severed. It continues to affect the magic and use it in different ways as time goes on. We're still studying, trying to figure out exactly how, but until then, it would be wise to at least be aware of your emotions as you're fighting. Be aware of your feelings. As long as they go to extremes, you should be okay, but let's just be careful from now on.
You got it, boss.
Jeff looks over at the case with the 2 watches, and then over at David. Maybe we shouldn't use them for the time being, since it affects, me and David more. They appear to have a stronger connection with our hearts than anyone else's, and as we've seen, that's proved disastrous.
Well, I can't say that surprises me. The 2 of you were chosen as the A-team for a reason.
David looks at them both and absently scratches his left wrist. Maybe it's just we're using them too much? I don't know.
Like I said, the thing is, one has to remember that the good magic is powered not only by heart, but by imagination, by dreams, the things that Walt Disney stood for, and the things that this kingdom in which we stands for. Sometimes dreams, imagination, they can't always be controlled, even when they're positive. Sometimes our imaginations run wild. Sometimes dreams are unexpected. Or at least it should have been, natural foresight on our part to expect that, expect the unexpected, as it were, but I guess I was a little too focused on the technology, sciencey side of it, and not quite enough on the magic dream side of it. My own fault. But now that we know, we can further keep an eye on this, and I think the 2 of you have a stronger connection, yes, but that's also what makes you more effective in the field, because you have such a connection with your forms. I mean, I'm going to be honest, David, I'm not sure anyone else could have used, Genie's powers as effectively as we've seen you on several occasions. Yes, it went a little overboard, but that's natural to the character. When a character with that level of imagination and creativity gets wild, we should have seen it coming.
Yeah.
As
right.
as for Simba, a lion is a wild animal. Besides that, Simba also always had a passion in his heart for protecting his Pride lands and his people, for taking care of his kingdom. He was the king of Pride Rock, after all. And, especially if he blamed himself for a problem or felt that something was wrong, he would act to deal with that. He would take action, and sometimes, even in the movies, Simba's anger was known to get the better of them. In the second film, that was a primary plot point. He was letting his anger get the better of him and judging Kovu without knowing him. So it's easy to think that perhaps Simba might have gotten a little out of control when his temper flared. He is the son of Mufasa, and as our supposed nemesis did mention, Mufasa got the lion's share of the strength and combat ability, so not entirely impossible that could have happened. But either way, the fact of the matter is the characters are both still good at heart. These characters and the 2 of you, much like them, are good at heart. You have good intentions. It's just a matter of tethering those intentions with the hearts of your characters by using your hearts. this is my theory anyway. Obviously, we haven't had a chance to test this, but my theory is that by using your hearts, the passion that you feel for helping us protect the parks and the passion you feel for what we stand for, you can help tether the passions of those characters, and not only tether them, but then guide them, use them in the ways that they were intended to be used. Now, basically, form as we saw near the end of our last battle with David, becoming closer to be one with the character, and the same with you, Jeff, when you regain control, becoming one with your character and using your hearts to guide theirs in the right direction. Remember, these characters in their worlds, everything was pre-written for them. They didn't have to worry about a lot. If they got overzealous, it could be compensated for. But here in the real world, as much as the characters are helping us, the character spirits are helping us, we have to guide them too. And I believe that the two of you with the strongest hearts, that's why you were given two of the strongest characters, because the magic believed you were capable of guiding them.
Jeff looks at the floor, lost in thought. Adrian walks up behind him and places a hand on his shoulder. Don't worry, dude. We got your back.
David looks absently around and nods slightly. Alfred walks up. It's okay, bro, he says, slapping him hard on the shoulder as David takes a small stumble forward. Yeah, it's okay. You just gotta, it's just, gotta just work with it, man. Don't fight it. Just be together. You tether your heart to the character, and it'll all be good, right, man? David stares at his brother. Yeah, actually, I think I get what you're all getting at.
Jeff looks back up and stares at Noah. So what's the next move?
Well, as of right now, it's just a matter of continuing our patrols and ensuring the park is protected. I'm not detecting anything at the moment, but son of a Pete. Noah frustratedly walks over to the computer. Every time, Noah punches some keys on the computer, queuing up the screen. Oh, that's not good. As Noah brings up the images, a small fleet of ships can be seen in the water on their way toward the very island the team currently inhabits. It would seem Captain Hook isn't the only one who thought to try to attack us where they would think they could cut off the head, as it were.
Oh. Jeff raises an eyebrow and walks over to the screen. Why, what have we got?
I'm not entirely sure. Those vessels are definitely not anything we've seen in the park, and unless the world's fastest construction team walked in here and built these vessels somewhere on the edge of the lake, these have to be demon-made.
Jeff looks at the screen and his eyes begin to twitch. Pirate ships. Really?
Not exactly. They're from the same time period, but not exactly pirates. Pirate ships usually look a little more threatening, and they're not flying the Jolly Roger. Characters are nothing if not loyal to stereotypes.
Alfred laughs at that comment.
So they're really going to assault our base, really?
They seem to think so. But they successfully got Frollo into the old base. It was in the center of the park. There were vulnerabilities that we hadn't quite counted on. In the construction of this base, however, we're a little more fortified. Come with me. Noah heads out of headquarters, and the team follows.
Jeff looks over at David, then at the watches. What do you think, partner?
Well, David looks around and scratches the back of his head. We gotta do what we gotta do. I'm not sure if we're fully recovered, but if there's something we can do to help, I kind of think we gotta at least try.
Jeff nods in agreement and pulls the watches out of the case. You're right. We gotta face this head on. He tosses David his watch. Let's do this.
David grabs the watch, straps it on, and nods affirmatively.
Jeff straps his watch on, and the duo run out after the team.
The team arrives outside on the shores of the island, near the docks. They can see the enemy ships approaching from several directions. Well, this is going to be interesting. All right. If we're going to defend this, unfortunately, I don't think we can stop all the ships from making landfall. Our best bet is going to be to send a couple of people into the air to try to head off a few of the ships before they get here. Leave a couple behind to defend the shore for those that make landfall. I wonder what... And, Jeff, given that this is a fight on the water, I think you know what to do.
Jeff looks down at his watch, starts to reach for it and stops, and thinks for a moment. Suddenly the watch begins to glow. All right.
No,
Jeff rotates to position 1 and slams it down. King Triton reemerges, complete with trident.
Don't worry. Aside from a few instances, King Triton is one of the most level-headed characters around. You shouldn't have any problems controlling him.
Jeff nods and jumps into the water as his legs merge to form a fishtail as he swims out toward the open waters.
All right. Alfred, Adrian, if I recall, I don't think you two have any forms that can fly, so why don't you two stay here and try to defend the shore from any ships that make landfall?
You got it.
Adrian nods. You know, considering they're coming from multiple points, Adrian shifts his to position, I think it was 2. A red and black suit envelops his body. Guess I'm getting a workout today. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man, Alfred says. He then turns his watch and slams it down. He's covered in a white and blue suit as ice forms at his fingers. So's this.
Oh yeah, team superhero. Adrian high fives Alfred.
Yeah.
All right. Well, David, I believe that leaves us to cover the air.
Okay, you got it. David takes a deep breath and spins the watch. He then slams it down and is covered in red armor with the form of Baymax.
Baymax is one of the gentlest characters. You'll be fine.
I know, and the flight makes him a better healthcare provider.
That is true. All right, but just in case anyone... Noah speaks. The watch is allowing everyone to hear, despite Jeff having already taken off to the sea. And just in case you thought we were defending alone, well, when I said fortifications, I didn't just mean us. I made a few upgrades based on technology from the old base. Noah taps his watch. Engage base fortifications. As the voice command is issued, several pieces of technology pop out of various points of the island, a couple within view of the team. As they activate, the team realizes they are hollow emitters. Let's see them deal with this. As the hollow emitters engage, a large number of ships of their own bearing a resemblance to those from the Disney film Treasure Planet, begin flying through the air toward the enemy armada. Now then, my turn. Noah twists his watch and slams it down. Green tights and a feather cap appearing over his form. All right. He kicks into the air, a sparkle behind him. Let's do this. He flies out toward one of the nearest ships. As he does, he takes a sample of what they're dealing with. Interesting. The demons piloting the ship seem to have taken the form of normal men. Looks like they're wielding swords and looks like rifles, but old style rifles with the wide end. I can't remember what they're called. Blunderbuss, something like that. Either way, not modern weaponry by any means. Doesn't mean they're any less dangerous, though. Be careful.
You got it. David flies out to survey the ships and decides when to pick off.
Adrian crosses his arms and looks over at Alfred. So, what do you think, Alfie? Should we wait and see if they make it on land, or should we go out there and kick their asses?
Oh, man. Well, I'm thinking I'm just going to chill here for like a minute and see how it goes. And if they need help, then we'll totally go out and whip some ass. Yeah. Otherwise, maybe I'll just, I don't know, freeze a barrier around and see him try to get through that.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Adrian runs off, comes back 2 seconds later with 2 built hammocks hanging off of trees. Let's chill, dude. Adrian jumps into a hammock, crosses his legs, and looks out over the ocean.
Nice. I'll follow suit.
As they begin relaxing, they notice another ship coming from an angle that the others aren't covering. It's close to land. Men begin pouring out of a hatch and jumping into rowboats, rowing over toward the land with guns and swords.
Oh, man, I was just getting relaxed. Hey, dude, you want to stop them from getting here, kind of freeze the water or something? Might make our job a little easier.
Al jumps out of the hammock and looks over. He looks up and sees David look down at him and point over hurriedly to where the guys are coming from, and then shake his head and fly off. Yeah, no problem. He then goes over and starts to freeze the water around the boat to try and make a barrier to keep them from being able to leave. You're not gonna be here, guys.
As the land team holds off that ship, Noah continues flying around surveying the other ships. He swerves down, exchanging sword strikes with several of the men on one of the ships, dodging bullets in the meanwhile. He goes under their bullet aim and manages to close several of the cannon windows on their ship. As the cannons fire, the cannonballs can't emerge, and several explosions are heard under deck on one of the ships. It slowly begins to sink as the men begin diving overboard. Boy, I thought you guys were going to be better than Captain Hook. Guess my expectations were a little too high.
A ruckus
David
can be
flies
heard
down
on
near the water. David floats down near the water and shoots his fist through the hulls of one of the ships near the bottom, making it start to sink without having to directly confront anyone on it. Yeah, there's a lot of them, but I expected a little bit more resistance, he said as the fist comes back onto his arm.
A loud commotion can be heard on one of the other ships as the men on the ships begin to scurry around. It begins to creak and moan, and a loud crack can be heard as it lurches to one side. Suddenly, water begins pouring out of the different portholes of the ship as it rises through the ship, and this ship begins to go down. A hole emerges from the center of the deck as Triton leaps up through the rising water through the hole, does a flip in the air, and then drops back down to the water as the ship sinks. I expected the ship to be sturdier. He looks up at Noah. You sure this is demon magic? Because those are kind of crap.
You have to remember, not all demons are going to be as effective as someone like, say, Hades or even Frollo. Especially ones that didn't necessarily have any particularly special abilities, well, in the character's Inception films or television programs. So, in this case, this is obviously one who is either acting on his own or, well, who knows, but he's not particularly powerful, or she, whoever they are.
Fair enough.
I think, as Noah continues flying around, he sees some of the men begin aiming their guns from one of the ships. He dodges down, avoiding some of the bullets, but suddenly some of the bullets curve in the air. They graze his arm as he barely dodges again. Okay, magic bullets. Probably should have seen that coming.
You okay over there, Noah? David shouts.
Yeah, it's just a graze. I'll be fine. It'll heal up. But be careful of those bullets. Apparently, he notices the guns of some of the men on the various ships have begun glowing. It looks like they're upping the power levels. They must have realized how effective we are against just the plain weaponry. Watch out for the cannon fire. They may be able to direct that too.
Sure thing. David turns around and narrowly avoids a cannonball. Blah!
Noah dodges another cannonball. This one striking one of the holographic ships. It shimmers for a moment and then disappears. Yeah, I was afraid of that. Well, luckily we got plenty more of those. Noah flies down toward the water. Jeff, how's it going?
Jeff's hand raises up out of the water and gives him a thumbs up as it's moving toward one of the other ships.
Good.
Adrian looks up from his hammock and looks over at the frozen ships near the land. All of a sudden, he sees the men jump out of the ships and start walking on the frozen water. Oh, God damn it. Should have seen that one coming. Hey, Alfie. I think we're actually going to have to do something, man.
About time.
Go ahead. I'll be right behind you.
Al jumps up and creates a pathway of ice that he slides along to go over to the troops. Naughty, naughty! He then...
The troops lift their guns and attempt to begin firing at him.
As the troops begin to take aim, a red blur flies by and redirects their magic bullets right back at them. I don't think so. Adrian skids to a stop next to Alfred. Well, this could have gone better, huh?
True. But you know what? Could have gone worse. Nice save out there today. He then high-fives him.
Oh, yeah. All of a sudden, the ice begins to crack, and then crack some more, and then crack some more, and then the ice breaks as the ships begin to sink. The men on the ship sinking with them, the ones, of course, not on the ship, have made it to land. All of a sudden, Jeff's head pops up out of the water. I know you guys are having fun, but maybe you guys should pay more attention. Adrian blinks. Right.
Sure thing, dude.
Kids. Jeff's head ducks back down below the water to go rejoin the rest of the crew.
In the meantime, David and Noah have managed to take down several more ships. The holographic counter armada taking out several more. The numbers have begun to thin. As they loop around, they see Jeff take out a couple more, narrowing the field to just a few ships. But the last few were coming from another angle and managed to make it to the land. Looks like we're clear out here. We better get back and help the others.
All right. David
Noah
turns the fly off.
Noah goes with him.
Right behind you. Jeff swims right after them.
They make landfall and see men streaming out of the remaining men from the ship that was sunk by the 2 land team members, as well as 2 other ships that also made it to land. The last 3. All right.
Adrian begins to take some steps back toward the base. Okay, that's a lot of dudes.
Yeah, but I still don't see anybody directing them. Suddenly, a loud slam can be heard as a door on one of the ships bursts open on the upper deck. Delicate footsteps can be heard stepping out. Shining black armor can be seen as a man wearing a purple hat with a blue feather in it steps forward. There, we have made landfall in our new world. Destroy these savages so we can be rich. Oh, crap. Anybody seen Pocahontas lately?
No.
Jeff's head pops up out of the
Nah,
water.
sorry, man.
Are you shitting me?
That would explain why the ships weren't all that sturdy. He wasn't exactly the most effective villain. I would assume the riches he speaks of are all the technology in our base. We're going to want to make sure he doesn't get that.
Right.
Only one thing to do. Noah pulls his sword into a battle stance. Bang-a-rang! He runs forward and begins exchanging swords with the men charging. He's using his flight, he flips over them, disarming several, kicking a few more around, moving too fast for them to counter. Several more men continue coming out of the ships with pickaxes and shovels. I don't think it's going to be more effective than a sword, but be careful nonetheless.
Adrian taps Alfie on the back of his shoulder. Dude, we need to make sure they don't get to the base. Erect some defenses or something.
All right. Alfie then begins building walls out of the ice to try and guard their base.
Adrian runs up the walls and starts running along the tops of the walls, trying to defend against rifle blast. Guys, we could use some help back here. They're kind of marching on us. We don't have defenses against guns. All of a sudden, Jeff leaps out of the water, his tail fins becoming legs again as he executes a front flip. In the air, he points his trident down toward the oncoming soldiers toward the base from behind and unleashes a volley of lightning at their backs. Not so fast. Several of the soldiers get hit by the lightning and vaporize as Jeff lands on the ground behind him. He turns around and looks back at Noah and the good captain. Oh, great. Well, I just kind of put myself in the middle. Hey, David, get us some breathing room.
Can do, buddy. David flies forward and starts shoving back as many of the demons as he can, picking them up and throwing them.
Noah sees that the number of men is still overpowering them. Luckily, I have one more. Noah grabs his watch. Engage Operation Kirakakash, he states. As he does, a blue energy field appears on part of the island, blocking entrances into the base. Came up with that little trick after we fought Rourke.
Jeff looks over at Noah. You didn't.
It seemed like a good idea. Debate me on it later. If I recall correctly, was it the men were only effective in this savage mob like this as long as they were under Ratcliffe's commands. If we can manage to take him out, they might come to their senses, or at least if they're really demons, go away. I think not, you heathens! Ratcliffe, from his position on the deck, pulls out a large gun and begins firing at the shore. Look out!
Oh, crap. Jeff jumps out of the way. David, you're the one in big badass battle gear here. Can you do something about the guy with the gun?
I'll try my best. David flies up and lands on the deck of the ship behind Ratcliffe.
Ah! You dare board my honorable vessel! He drops his gun and pulls a sword out of the sheath at his waist. Have at thee! Your treasure shall be mine!
All right. David takes up a karate stance using the built-in software.
As Ratcliffe begins swinging the sword, David's able to use the armor on his arms and wrists to block the blows without taking too much damage. Ratcliffe is a decent swordsman, but nothing spectacular. I shall have my riches. I shall have my gold. Does he think there's actual gold here? I hope not.
Jeff begins swinging his trident around, engaging in melee combat with a bunch of the soldiers on land. That would not bode well if he finds out there isn't any and he's expecting some.
Yeah, that's actually what happened in the movie. It didn't end well.
Adrian jumps down from the wall and begins running around, helping out Jeff, engaging in combat. Alfie, time to go on the offensive. I think that dome shield thing has got the base covered.
Already on it. Alfie slides forward on a thing of ice and begins throwing icicles at the enemy troops.
Noah, you gotta do something. We're getting overwhelmed.
Alright, I got an idea. Hold on. Noah knocks a few of the men he's fighting away and takes off into the air. He makes a beeline toward the ship where David and Ratcliffe are still engaged in combat. Wielding his sword in his left hand, he swings by and drags the sword along part of the armor that Ratcliffe is wearing, as well as cutting the feather off of his hat as he goes by. Part of Ratcliffe's shoulder and chest armor falls off on the ground. My armor, that was a gift from King James, you fool! This hat, no one humiliates Ratcliffe! David, while he's distracted!
David rushes forward and delivers a swift kick.
Ah! Ratcliffe, not suspecting this, takes the kick and goes flying off the side of the ship. Ah! He crash lands in the water below. Get me up, you idiots! Some of the demon men turn to try to help Ratcliffe, but others are seeming dazed. I think whatever little control he had is breaking. Right? Noah flies down, cutting off another piece of Ratcliffe's armor. Ah! He tries to grab the armor from his leg, but the armor continues falling off, revealing an embarrassing cummerbund underneath. Yeah, that's gonna be enough. Noah swings in one more time. This time shoulder ramming Ratcliffe. Being as top heavy as he is with his large shoulders and small legs, he falls over again. This time Noah spins around and throws the trap out next to him. As he falls, it pulls him inside. No! Filthy savages! As he's pulled inside the trap, the other men and the remaining ships begin to dissolve. After a moment, they are gone.
Adrian skids to a stop next to Jeff, who plants the butt of his trident on the ground. Well, looks like they were demons after all. Jeff nods. Yep, looks like it.
It's generally safe to assume that Noah begins as he lands. Unless they're running something like whatever Gaston was trying to pull, most of their forces are going to be demons. As powerful as the darkness is, given that there is inherent light in the hearts of most people, they won't be able to control most, even if they have darkness. One of the advantages we have, luckily.
David lands down next to him. It's a good thing we have some advantages. I mean, they weren't that strong, but there were so many. I didn't think it'd be as difficult as it ended up being.
Yeah, the numbers game was deceiving, but that's... In the movie, that is how Ratcliffe attempted to win. He tried to overwhelm the Native Americans with the sheer force and, by having guns, tried to incite an unnecessary war. In that, he was revealed to be lying about the cause of the war, and his men turned on him, but... Well... Luckily, in this case, they didn't turn, but it was enough to disorient them and long enough to take him out.
Jeff looks up. Am I the only one worried that they sent him to assault the base? I mean, if all they were looking for was to draw us to a specific location to fight us, I could see the whole numbers game maybe giving them a pretty good advantage. But assaulting our base? I would have expected them to send someone, who's a little more of an actual threat. I mean, once you guys got to him, there was no threat, and that kind of worries me.
Unfortunately, you may have a point, but I see this another way. Captain Hook tried to stop us from getting here. He didn't succeed. Given that we defeated him out there on the open water, they haven't actually tried to test this base yet. They successfully had Frollo invade the previous one, but they had no idea what this one was capable of. I'd imagine that, assuming he wasn't working alone and was dispatched by Jafar or Scar, that they didn't expect him to win. They just figured the overwhelming numbers would be a good test for them to see what kind of defense we could mount on our headquarters, whether it was more defendable than the last one or whether they could pull the same trick twice.
Jeff's eyes widen.
Expendable, as it were.
And you showed them all our tricks. Oh, no.
Yeah, in retrospect, I kind of... Well, first of all, let me be honest, never all our tricks. We're Disney. We always have a few secrets up our sleeves, but that was more than I would have liked to show off, yes.
Yeah, but I don't think it was more than necessary. We kind of had to do all that stuff.
Yeah, we needed to get the men sufficiently out of the way so we could get to Ratcliffe and take him out. So the barrier was necessary to free you two up for the rest of the fight. And the holograms, well, they probably didn't entirely not expect that, given what Frollo was able to set against us in the old base.
Jeff then realizes something and turns around to look at Adrian and Alfred. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, they're going to be prepared. This is not good. You do realize they also now have confirmation of something, right? He turns around to Noah.
Well, given they're being led by Scar, I would expect them to be prepared, but what did we confirm?
No, they confirmed that our numbers have grown. Realize, Adrian and Alfred haven't left since they came in to help us during the Hades thing. Our enemies haven't really seen much of them. They've come in here and there. They've now confirmed that Adrian and Alfred are now permanently part of the team, and they're not leaving. They know now what kind of resistance to expect. They know now we're a team of 5.
That's true.
Our ace is in the hole. are no longer aces in the hole.
No, they aren't. And I would like to try to stay positive here, Jeff. So I'd like to remind you that we are technically still a team of 6.
This is true. I have a feeling we're going to need him before the end. Hopefully, he'll come out of it. But that's the other thing, too. They also know now we're a man down.
Well, they know that he's not out here at the very least. They don't. Hopefully, they don't know the extent of his injuries. At any rate, thank you two for coming out, he says to David and Jeff. I know that had to be difficult after the last 2 experiences with the watches, but I think you've shown that you can handle the characters. Even the stronger ones can be tethered, can be used to our advantage. And as evidenced by that and how strategic they're getting, we're going to need every advantage we can. Oh, I should probably... Noah picks up his watch. Disengage Kirakakesh. As he speaks, the dome drops. We better get back inside. Who knows when they're going to strike again. He pushes his watch down and transforms back into Noah as he heads toward the entrance to the base. The rest of the team transforms back and follows, heading in to prepare for their next adventure. And we're clear. How about that?
Yay.
Yay!
Yeah, truth be told, I had trouble coming up with ways to make Governor Ratcliffe a threat. I figured, he was a threat because he had an army of dudes that followed him with guns and swords. We'll just do that.
What they don't realise is slowly the base is replacing my limbs with that of a car, and I become Herbie.
Sure, why not?
Fact.
I thought you were going to say Lightning McQueen, but okay.
No, I already used a car as my evil guy's transformation.
This is true.
Ka-chow, ka-chow.
Yeah, and having the mass people works because we really haven't fought overwhelming numbers yet.
That is true. I mean, the closest we came was the military dudes, and there were only still like a half a dozen to 10 of them.
I feel like there should have been more in Hell. You know, because he controls all the spirits there.
Well, they did fight a massive army of skeletons.
That is true. But they didn't have a wizard to freeze them.
Ah, this is also true.
I miss Librarian Jim. He's a great door opener.
Nice. At any rate, that's the end of our little adventure here. We're coming into the home stretch, people. We've got 6 more episodes to go for those of you counting at home.
Woo.
This is going to get interesting. Tune in next week for another great episode and a special guest appearance for our villain. We'll see you then. I'm James Phoenix. Peace.
Yay!